please try to say some disadvantage. Anyone?
Complexity.
What complexity?
It has to manage multiple containers, that networks volumes. So
Okay,
performance overhead, that will.
yeah, that we can consider. That we can consider. Anyone? Thanks. Anyone? Okay, no problem. See, point number one, it is not recommendable solution for rich GUI applications. Means using Docker, we only use the interface that is CLI interface that we can do, we can work. Where rich GUI means graphical user interface required somewhere. The customer wants the graphical user interface. There we cannot deploy the Docker. Okay, so that is the point. Number two, in the Docker system, suppose you are developing any container and you are using Windows OS, right? And you want to share that container with your testing team, and they are using the Linux operating system, so it is not compatible. So means where you are developing the Docker, the environment, the operating system, and where it is testing, if it is a different OS, it is not support. It will not support, right? So OS compatibility not there. Cross-platform compatibility is not applied in Docker, that we can tell, right? These are the few points that we can uh, list it here. And another point is uh, Docker does not support your data recovery, backup file, and rolling back. Sometimes we need to roll back, means we have created version 1, version 2, version 3, but we facing some issue after upgrading upgrading the system. So that time we need to roll back. But Docker does not support that. So we can point out this. Now say some advantage of the Docker. Say some advantage. Any one of you, any point that you have.
It creates a compact package which can easily mm, just transfer from one client to another client.
Okay, good, good.
Lightweight.
All right. Mm. See, the main point is that if we talk regarding the resource uses, like the VM, what it happens, you have to pre-allocate the RAM, right? We have a underlying resources, underlying hardware. Suppose we are using the RAM of 256 GB, or suppose say 200 GB, suppose, and we are creating 5 VM. So each VM we just distribute uh, among the 200 GB. Suppose 50 GB for each each VM, or particular one VM I am giving to the 50 GB. So this is the fixed. Out of 200 GB, I have to allocate 250 GB for a particular VM. Maybe the usage or utilization is not that high, right, throughout the time, but still it is consuming 50 GB. It is, you can say, underutilizations based on the time and the traffic. So that we have had to provide. Now, in this scenario, for the Docker case, we don't require to pre-allocate the RAM. What the container require based on the traffic, it consumes that amount. Maybe at the morning time, early morning time, based on the traffic, it has required very less RAM to consume, very less RAM to run the application. So may it is consuming 5 MB, right? And at the evening time, it's required high. That time may it's consuming 50 GB. So that's the way underlying resource is used. So that is very good advantage of the Docker. Is that point clear?
Yes, yes.
And if we consider about the expense as the using pattern of the resources and the utilization pattern of the resources is very good, very um, efficient way it is using. So based on that, our cost also get the expense is also less. So what we can say, Docker provides solution on the competitive low cost, that we can say, right? Another point is that Docker creating images, right? Or getting the images. Maybe it from your uh, registry, maybe it's from your Docker hub, or you can say it's getting the source codes, creating the image, and the same image we can utilize in your cluster in your Docker system, Docker ecosystem. So Docker can reuse images. Regarding this point, I'm just deleting the number for Docker compose that not required nowadays. So what we have here in the Docker ecosystem, these are the components, right? Docker client. Anybody can say that we just describe about this Docker client here. Anybody say some points about the Docker client that already we discussed in our last class? Anyone? No. Okay, fine. The purpose of the Docker client and the job is Docker client write a code. Okay, that we say syntax. So it writes that means it provides some instructions to the Docker file that we can say. And the purpose is communicate with the Docker daemon. Means the client, the Docker client, basically he's a developer. That components basically you can consider as a developer. So developer, what he is doing, he's just writing some code, writing some syntax, okay, and that syntax to the terminal as consider CLI, okay, through the terminal is just providing the syntax to the Docker daemon. So this is the job of your Docker client. Basically to interact with your Docker domain, so that we can say Docker client interact with Docker daemon. Docker client uses syntax or command to communicate with Docker daemon. Now, what is the point coming? Docker engine, Docker daemon. So what is the purpose of Docker engine? Anyone? You can see the diagram and you can tell me what is the purpose of Docker daemon or Docker engine. Guys, we-
It's allowed to build and run the containerization application.
Yeah, somehow you can relate it. Okay. Oppo CPH, can you please put your name, please? Mm, I already I already told everyone identity is important. Exactly, you are correct. So that point we can write like that way. Docker engine help. to create container, to create and run, that we can say, okay? Because the container run in this area, okay? The applications, when we create the container, it run inside this Docker host. So we can say create and run container. Any point anyone can add? Here the point is the engine can communicate with other engines. The daemon, the Docker daemon can communicate with other Docker daemons. Okay. So suppose if we consider this is a cluster and this is your one part in this system, if we have another part, okay, like this. So the engine or the daemon can directly communicate to this daemon. If we consider this is a department and this is the team lead of this particular team, so there is another team and both the team lead can communicate. So this is considered the daemon. So daemon to daemon can possible to communicate. Another point is that Docker daemon and engine is the same. So, okay, I repeat, run on the host OS. It run only on your base operating system. That may be Linux, Unix, and your Windows. That may possible. So it directly runs here. Now, maybe my first class is I draw that. Okay, the diagram I draw that. So there we had that. There basically we had that. Okay, I don't know where it is. Then what we have here? Then we have Docker engine. We done Docker image. So anybody can tell me what is Docker image? Quick, anyone, please tell me the Docker image. See, Docker image you can consider as a template because image cannot modify, image cannot edit. Okay, first point, Docker image is like template. You can reuse the Docker image to create the container. It, hey guys, don't mark anything. Remove it. How to create container. If you have, if you have image, so you can create the container. This point clear? Okay, 2 points is enough for this. Then what we have? We have Docker Hub. Now tell me about Docker Hub. Who will tell me? That's also called the registry. Okay, you can say repo. That may be public, private. Okay, so these are the point we can tell about this. basically this is how what image you are creating, right? Maybe from the Docker file, maybe from source code, maybe that image you have. So you can push the image to Docker Hub, okay, to use your team members to publicly publish it this image so that anybody can use that image, or you can pull the image as per your required. So I write here, take care of image. We can store the image. We can reuse how image, pulling image from half. Is this point clear? You guys say yes,
Yes.
no.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Great. What point will we have here? Docker Hub, Docker image, Docker engine. Yeah, Docker file. Now let me put the Docker file. So what is Docker file? Tell me. As I told you.
We can write the codes here or instruction.
Yes, exactly that. Set of instruction uh, for creating image. That means when you are writing set of instruction, okay, so first it should be converted to the image, then we can make it the container. Let me draw here for you. Suppose guys, Docker file, right? So what is that? Like you are writing something, okay, uh this is your syntax or code, anything, right? So what happening here, it is going to the your Docker host, right? Docker host. Okay. And this is your Docker file. You have just instructed some sets of commands or some code here. Def Docker file, Docker host. Whenever it reach here, first is create images. With the Docker engine, that also helping your Docker engine, okay? Images, you created the images. One, two, set. Vector, let me write here. Then again that engine helping you to create what? This is your container, okay? Container. So these are the things happening here. When you push it through the CLI, the Docker file, Docker host receive that. The file means set of instructions. First, it convert to the image. Image means template. You cannot modify it. That image process to the Docker daemon or Docker engine. What we will get then? We'll get the container. Okay. So we'll get the container. So what is the thing? Set of instruction for creating image. And then it then Docker engine convert or create, build container. This one clear to you guys?
Yes.
Great,
Yes.
great. Now, now